A new year begins, and so do the reviews, and we start the year off nice and calmly after the hectic holiday season with a look at the one and only A340-200 in my fleet. With that, a warm welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A340-200 of South African Airways. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and underneath that we have the South African Airways branding. The backside of the box offers us a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. We're provided with the original dimensions of the aircraft, and we can see it is a limited edition. That's it for the box, so let's look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And here she is, the Airbus A340-200 in the standard livery of South African Airways. The shortest version of the A340 was developed in tandem with the Airbus A340-300 and entered service in March 1993 with launch customers Lufthansa and Air France. The 200 series joined South African Airways in 2003 and was operated until 2013. The aircraft model here in front of us was produced by Herpa Wings back in 2010. Now, with that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer. And we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the South African Airways color scheme, which of course is heavily inspired by the South African flag, which we find on the fuselage next to the full registration code and the aircraft type specification. And also towards the very tail of the aircraft we find a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then find the writing of South African, and we also have a Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member. The cockpit section itself offers us the cockpit windows with the window wipers, which is rather bare-boned but pretty much aligns with the standards of Herpa Wings back in 2010. What I do like here is the shape of the mold. I think Herpa does rather well with the A340, and it is actually not true that we can't find any other printed details, because if you look underneath the nose we find what I assume is an internal registration code of South African Airways. The engine nacelles have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage. The only printed detail we find here is simply the addition of the silver leading edge. Of course, the engines would have benefited from many more details, but back in the day Herpa didn't really care much for that. I mean, it's not that they care much more about it today, but they do at least add a little bit more details nowadays. Where the engines, however, are succeeding quite well is with the physical detailing. Here Herpa has done an excellent job. That leads us straight to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at, starting off here with the top side, where we can see the different flap slats and spoilers have been carved out very nicely, and we also have some different shades of grey for additional detailing. The underside of the wings I think look even better. Here lots of physical detailing, and we also have the full registration code of the aircraft printed on once again. And of course the A340-200, just like the 300, does also have winglets, and here we get a little bit off color because we can have the South African color scheme added both on the inner and outer side of the winglets. So the landing gear we find on this Airbus A340-200 model is the same standard landing gear that Herpa also uses for their Airbus A340-300, which is a good thing because it looks nice and of course is also correct to the aircraft type. The only thing I'm missing here is at the front landing gear some printed details, which I think really would have helped out the aircraft model overall. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A340-200 in the standard livery of South African Airways from Herpa Wings on scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? I think the most honest thing I can say about this aircraft model is that it doesn't offer much. Don't get me wrong, the South African Airways livery is lovely, but since it is predominantly white, and Herpa only adds the most basic details to an aircraft model, well, it rather quickly becomes quite dull. But of course we also have to keep in mind that this is not a new Herpa Wings release, and the model definitely doesn't do anything worse, but certainly also nothing better than any other standard release from Herpa Wings back in 2010. So keeping that all in mind, what I can say is that the print quality itself is actually pretty well, and also the physical detailing doesn't really have any major issues. And with that we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe. With that I would like to say thank you very much for watching, wishing you a happy new year, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.